So we know that Contra is a great series spanning across 20-something games. In last episode, we've seen the best of the best that Konami had to offer us with Contra titles. But what about the failures, the mistakes, the abominations? That's right. No great series gets away without a few bad games or broken ports somewhere in there. And that's why today we're looking at the top 5 worst Contra games. Number 5. Starting off our list is Super C. No, not the Super C on the NES or arcade. We're talking about the Amiga version of Super Contra. This was a port to the Amiga in 1999 by a company called Unlimited Software Incorporated. This is the port of the arcade version and not the NES version. Super Contra on Amiga has many flaws and was super difficult. This game starts you off with 10 lives, and every time you beat the level, it gives you 10 more lives. That absurd amount of lives should give you a hint of how difficult this game is. The graphics aren't bad, I'll give it that, but the control is horrible. The character's hard to maneuver the way you want him to, and the screen just feels so zoomed in way too far, making it very hard to see the enemies approaching you, and being able to react in time to move or kill them. There's also a DOS port which is basically the same and just as bad, so if you need your Super C fix, just stick to the arcade or the NES version. Leave this mess alone. Number 4 on our list is a game called Contra. Ever heard of it? Well, I'm sure you have, but did you know that there was an MS-DOS version of it? Well, if you didn't, then you're in luck, because you aren't missing anything here. Contra for the MS-DOS was released in 1988 and ported by a company called Banana Development Incorporated. This is the bottom of the barrel stuff here. The game is very slow and glitchy, and although it's supposed to be 2 players, it's literally impossible to play with 2 players. You have to share the same keyboard, which is already bad enough, but once you start to actually play the game, it can't even handle 2 players at once. Your guy won't respond to the buttons you're pushing, they will just walk to one side indefinitely, or not even shoot when you're holding a button in. It's impossible to play with 2 players. So we played it 1 player, and it was still impossible. The graphics are bad, but I can forgive that for being an old PC game, but the music is non-existent, and there are only limited colors on the screen. The majority of the problems is the unresponsive controls. The game is just too taxing on itself to even play. There are other home PC versions of Contra at the time that were much better, such as the MSX and Amstrad. Just like we said last entry, if you want to play some Contra goodness, please try the arcade or NES. Leave this one alone. Contra Evolution is the game that I just had to go and dig up, but I wish I wouldn't have. This game was released in China for cell phones in 2010 and arcades in 2011. It was later ported to iOS and Android in 2013. This game is nothing new. It's not a new Contra game. Unfortunately, it's just a, air quote, HD remake of the original Contra game. The characters and enemies all got a makeover and look really odd actually in my opinion. There are 4 characters you get to play as. The first 2, Bill Reiser and Lance Bean, are available from the start, and the 2 new characters, Richie Erica and Sally Inohara, are unlockable. There are basically 2 types of games here. The first game is original Contra levels 1 through 8, nothing changed at all. The graphics are, I suppose, okay, but it's nothing we haven't played already. The gun is on auto fire and shoots the whole time without even having to press any buttons. If you beat the game on this mode, this is how you unlock Richie Erica, who has a different weapon set than Bill and Lance do. The other mode is this thing called a mission mode. For this, you're still basically playing the same game, you just need to focus on a high score, time limit, and how many times you die. For each of these 3 tasks you complete, you get a medal. Once you get 55 medals in this mode, Sally Inohara is unlocked. But trust me, it's not worth the effort. So of course, being a mobile game, you expect a ton of microtransactions. And don't worry, they won't disappoint you. There are 2 currencies in this game, gold and diamonds. Gold is earned in-game and allows you to buy continues and some other small things. The other currency, diamonds, are not found in the game at all and must be purchased with real cash. These allow you to continue, buy lives, buy weapons, and also experience packs to quickly boost your character level. Overall, the game was a huge disappointment, and you should be glad the game was pulled from the App Store in 2015. Or better yet, be happy it wasn't even released in the US at all. Number 2. Finally getting to some seriously bad games here that aren't just ports. These are real, original games, and boy are these last two horrible. Coming in at number 2 is a game called C, the Contra Venture. Never heard of it? I'm sure you aren't alone. This game was released by Konami on the PS1 in 1998, but developed by a studio called Appaloosa Interactive. Yeah, Konami didn't even bother making this one themselves, and it shows. This game came out at a time where 3D was all the rage, and it didn't translate well to a Contra title. First of all, this game is only one player? Yeah, this is the first Contra game on a home console to be restricted to only one player, so that's already a problem. But there are 10 stages in this game. The first one starts out okay, it's your traditional side-scrolling stage, and it wasn't that bad. But right after that, it's all that confusing 3D stuff with bad camera work and controls that are just hard to use. We don't see another side-scrolling level until the final stage of the game. All the levels in between are just 3D view, and investigating pyramids and whatnot. I mean, it's like they seen Tomb Raider and said, hey, why don't we do that ourselves and call it Contra? It's just horrible. And don't get me started on this new innovative breakthrough weightlessness level. Oh boy, is this a disaster. I mean, look at the guy floating around in here. The play control is absolutely unplayable, the levels are boring, the bosses look dumb. This is why some games just work better in 2D and should be left alone that way. Oh, another interesting fact for you, this game was never released in Japan, Europe, or Australia, just here in America. I wonder why. Number 1. And the final worst Contra game ever is, well, another Appaloosa game. That's correct. Appaloosa made 2 games, the first of which being Contra Legacy of War. This game was released on the PS1 and Sega Saturn in 1996 and 97 respectively. Both of these games are bad, but the Saturn game might be slightly better in terms of graphics and sound. But still, avoid them both. Of course, once again, the game was released only in the US, except PAL was rewarded with a nice release on the PS1. Japan, of course, didn't want any part of this crap. The game once again is in full 3D, with no side-scrolling levels at all. This time, at least it's a 2-player game, in which you can pick one of the 4 characters to play. Nobody you know is here, except maybe Ray Power from Contra Hardcore, which is a disgrace to that awesome game by even using his name in this one. Alongside him you have Tasha, the female mercenary, CD288, some robot, and Bubba. Yeah, they called him Bubba. All characters have 4 weapons, 2 of which are used by all, and 2 of which are unique to that character, but they all still pretty much play exactly the same. The game is unresponsive and extremely hard to tell what's going on, if your bullets are on the right path. Oh, and the jumps, this is the part that'll make you super angry. It's so hard to tell where stuff is at in this 3D plane, you'll be jumping off cliffs left and right and missing jumps the whole time. The visuals are bland and boring, and none of the bosses look cool or fun to fight at all. They look so undetailed and the colors are just so bland. So the final level of the game is on this planet we have to fight this boss snake, I guess. I mean, the idea was cool, but look at the execution. It's hard to tell what the heck is going on here, it's just a complete mess. Then, after you beat the boss, this ending happens. The planet explodes and you all just fly out in space together, with the bugs still alive. So basically, the whole game was for nothing. You should avoid this at all costs. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you want to see any of their full reviews of these games, click click up here to the top right to watch our Contra playlist. If you want to see a video pertaining to the game at number 1 spot, click down here in the bottom right. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.